Ha ha. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to a special edition of Transplant Talk with Naishanda. Today is July 2nd, 2020, and I am so excited about my special guest, plural guest, today. I heard this young man's story on another broadcast, and it was so touching and so moving that I had to have him on Transplant Talk with Naishanda. Okay, so first of all, Transplant Talk with Naishanda is about educating, bringing awareness, especially in a multicultural community. And we definitely have to bring awareness, be informed, and educate the multicultural community about organ donation. Today's guest is special because he not only had a kidney transplant, so he's a kidney transplant recipient as well as a lupus warrior. That's right, you heard me. He is a lupus warrior. And we will definitely we will get into his story more about what and how he is grappling and contending with having a transplant and lupus. It's such a rare story. It's such a rare find. A rare find. I really hope and pray that you enjoy this story. And by enjoying it and showing so much love, if you would please like and share to YouTube, share our Save 1,000 Lives on Facebook. We ask that you continue to support Save 1,000 Lives, and I am still on my mission, even now with COVID-19, to register 1,000 people to become organ donors. So, without any further ado, I would like to introduce the Henderson Men. Okay, the Henderson Men, and Emmitt is the big brother, and Manny is his living donor. So I love to have that. We will also have the beautiful Jacqueline, who is also Emmitt's partner, and she will tell us, her side, how she's able to support him and be such I like to say, a ride chick for Emmitt. Again, she is a shero to go through everything that she's endured with this journey that they both went on. So without further ado, and while I have to get some share on, welcome the Henderson Men, Emmitt and Manny. Hello. How are you? Listen, I'm so excited. I don't think people understand my excitement because you all are all the way over on the West Coast.
Absolutely.
So this is a West Coast, East Coast thing, and we are trying to make it as positive as it can be. We just want to be able to help you and just hear your story. Definitely help you get the awareness out about lupus. I've shared before that my sister suffered, with lupus as well, and so this is definitely near and dear to my heart. I've seen the ups and downs and everything with lupus and transplant. So, if you would please do us the esteemed honor of introducing yourself as well as your brother, please.
Absolutely. So my name is Emmet Henderson III, raised up here in San Diego, California, and with myself being in the profession in the automotive industry, I was a service manager mostly all my career in automotive. So lived a good life until I got struck with lupus, and we'll get into that as the story goes on. So I want y'all to bring up to my little brother right here. Let him introduce himself to you.
Hi, Manny Henderson. I'm obviously his youngest brother of three, and a sister. You know what? I work in the medical field, and yeah, we've been close ever since I remember. So he's always my oldest brother. So
And with everything that as a close family unit, we with the two brothers and my sister, we've always been close. We're about 1 year apart from each other, and we've kind of gone through this whole journey with me since day one that I've been through it, as well as my parents too. My parents were, they were the backbone of everything that was going on with me and kept us all abreast of letting us know that I was going to be all right during it all. So with the journey that I had done, I'm just blessed to be here and blessed to have a second chance of life because of this guy right here. So this is how this all happened.
Thank you for that introduction. I am honestly trying to get more people on so that they could watch. And so I'm trying to send that post out a little bit. Everyone, if you always share, please let me know in the comments if you can hear me, because I want to make sure that everyone hears the Henderson Men story and about transplant. So we're gonna go take us back. To the day where you found out that you had lupus. What was that like?
Well, that was a crazy story and journey for me as a guy. I was diagnosed in 1995, and we all, if you're not knowing, lupus was rare in men, where only 10% of men are diagnosed with lupus to the 90% women. So back in 1995, when I got diagnosed because of having pains in my back, which later turned out to end up being my kidneys. During the process of all the pains, I was going back and forth to the hospital with the doctors not having an explanation of what was going on, from joint pains to fevers to body aches to just overall discomfort. So I was at work, working hard as usual. And next thing you know, I'm having these pains where I kind of neglected going to the doctors because as a young man and being a manager of my shop, I didn't feel it was even necessary to leave work over a little pain. However, the pain was consistent. If I knew what I knew now, it would have been a whole different story. But back then, that's what happened. I ended up going to the emergency room. From that day on, I haven't stepped foot back into my workplace for about a year later, only because of the diagnosis and everything I went through. So went into the urgent care. 8 hours later, got ambulance to a hospital. And from there, they tested me over a period of 3 weeks just to find out what it was. Every test in the book was done to where there was no answer. The doctors could not put together what was down or what was going on with me. And then one day, a rheumatologist came in, which didn't know what a rheumatologist was at the time. And she comes in and tells me that I may have a disease that is a woman's disease. So as a man at 25, I'm like, wait a minute, this can't be right, doc. It's got to be anything else besides that. And she told me she needed a couple of days to confirm. So a couple of days go by, and in the meantime, I'm thinking like, what could it be that's getting me sick like this? And then they're gonna say it's a woman's disease. So the doctor came back after a couple of days telling me that it was rare, and we thought that it couldn't be possible, but you do have a rare disease for men, which is called lupus. Not too many cases have been reported in our area here in San Diego. So at that time, we didn't have Google at the time. I had to depend on literature that I had to read to find out what lupus was. When I read everything that it does by attacking all the internal organs and system, fatigue, years of medication, possible organ damage, it's something that it was hard for me to believe as a young guy that was doing so much at that time that I couldn't believe that I'd end up going through that. Now, the pain that really brought me into the clinic that day was the pains in my back to find out that my kidneys were failing. Now, it's been going on for a couple months prior to going in that day. It's just that, again, I did not listen to my body, and I just felt like I had to keep doing what I was doing. But at that point, I was already in renal failure, is what they were telling me. So I went home with a lot of medication, a lot of drugs, which I'm sure that lupus patients, we already know, because not only did I have to maintain my lupus from being aggressive, but then I had to work on making sure that my kidneys stayed, maintained, my liver, my lungs, and also my heart. So with all of that going down, it was, again, feeling like I was invulnerable at the time, but hearing all of this was just news to me. So the funny part about lupus is that at the time of being diagnosed, I did not have any support groups to turn to back then. Back in 1995 through 1998, there was nothing but women's support groups at the time. I remember walking into an office that lady told me was men and women, and I was ended up being there a couple minutes late, walked into the office and saw nothing but women in there. I walked right back out, only because, again, it was kind of an embarrassing thing for me, not being educated on lupus, not really understanding lupus, but to see that I was going to be the only man sitting in a support group, it just didn't fit right for me. It did not fit right at all. So I ended up just backing out, and I kind of read up on my own. Google finally came in 2000, and then reading, I was somewhat familiar with it, but yet not enough again to go through it. So everything I was going through with lupus pretty much attacked me more. From statistics, it's more severe in men from everything I have been reading. Mm-hmm. And I think my journey kind of tells it all. I mean, I went through a lot of surgeries, through organ failures, biopsied almost every organ in my body just to get lupus there. And then at the same time, with what it did to my bones was deteriorate almost every joint in my body. With that though, I had a knee replacement. I also had a shoulder replacement during a period of time. And they were told that my hips would need it, but I'm also mindful enough not to run around and jump around to make anything worse. So right. I'm pretty much good on that part.
All right. Again, you have to contend with lupus, and then how many years later that you have to? How many years between did you then find out you would need a kidney?
It was, I would say, in pretty much my 7th year of after telling me that my kidneys were failing. The doctors with medication maintained my kidney function over the next 7 years until one day I got a call while I was at work. I got a call that that when the nurse found out that I couldn't make the next appointment because I was scheduled to work, she had told me that, no, you cannot. You need to go in now. I was literally at the stage of kidney failure, but did not know. I felt normal. I felt good. I was running my shop. Everything was fine until they told me that I needed to come in to get dialysis done. So I had peritoneal dialysis, which lasted a year's time from there, and that was in 2012.
Okay. So you're telling me you had no symptoms, you didn't see anything letting you know that, hey, is something wrong with your kidneys?
No, just the normal fatigue and the normal symptoms that taking a lot of medications does to you. But as of pain, as of anything else, my kidneys weren't even suspected by me. But that's why I did normal routine blood work.
Okay, so you mentioned the meds. So with just lupus alone, do you know like how many medications you were taking?
Oh God, Naishanda, at one point with all of my organs being affected, and then we all know that sometimes medication causes side effects. So I had to add medication on top of that for the side effects. I was at one point at about 37 meds at one time, and that's morning and night per day.
Per day.
Thank God for good insurance, because that covered a lot, but I was still coming out of my pocket.
Right. And so we definitely talk about the cost of medications on Transplant Talk, because it's very serious. It's very costly. So you were blessed enough to have your insurance to take care of your medications.
Yeah, they pretty much did about 80% of it, and then the rest of it was pretty much out of pocket. And because I tried to maintain work as much as I can, I figured I'd make more money at work than being homesick. And I was able to, make it. And then, of course, with support from family, I made everything possible. But it was the only way I could stay alive. I had no choice but to make sure it happened.
Wow. So I'm getting a lot of wows and 37 question mark that you that you had to take. In this family, we're very familiar with how many medications someone needed to take, and we made sure that we had alarms set. So do you have, like, I know you have iPhone, so do you have like an alarm for 9 a.m., 12 a.m.? How do you keep up?
Well, I know for a fact as soon as I woke up, there's about 80% of them going down right there. And then right before I went to bed, I took the rest of them. And keep in mind, in that medication are also over the counter type to where I had a major heartburn from the medication. So they gave me meds for that, stronger than the over the counter. I needed to sleep with all the drugs that I was in. It was hard to sleep. So they gave me, meds to get me to sleep.
Right.
Things just to maintain everything else. So, and when you're at that point, they keep having to balance things. So it was like, oh, try this. If this works, fine. If it don't, then we need to increase or change the meds. So my visits to the pharmacy was like 3 times a week sometimes, just to
Mm-hmm.
make changes because
Right.
something didn't work. And the only way I knew I was allergic to a medication is when I ended up in the emergency room after taking it.
Okay, so I know when we did our pre-interview, you explained to me how often you were in the hospital. Can you share that story, please?
Yeah, absolutely. For one part of a year, about 13 months, I was in the hospital due to lupus flares once a week, every month for 13 months. And it was pretty bad. Everything would trigger a flare with me. Out of those 13 months I was in there every month, I was I woke up in the hospital, I woke up in the ambulance. So there's been a lot of different cases on how I flared. Either way, I stayed in the hospital for about 5 to 6 days average until they're able to bring all the inflammation down. I'd get admitted, and the first thing they would do was start me on steroids, up to about 140 milligrams intravenously of steroids. We all know lupus patients, autoimmune patients, what steroids does to us. It is nothing fun at all. But
Okay.
it was the only way to bring me down.
Okay, so I want to go back for a second because you mentioned in 1995 during our pre-interview, you were like the guinea pig. You were you were when, perhaps when the residencies came in, and because it's so rare in a male, and I just want to make sure that you all know that lupus, like 1 out of 10 men would, get lupus. And so, man, it's just amazing that you were one of them. But please share how you were. uh, you were kind of like their little pin cushion, or what would you
Well,
call it?
you could actually say that because that's how I felt. When
Okay.
you had a panel and a team of doctors that saw you, not just in the emergency room, but every hospital visit, they were there literally to study what I was going through. I even advised, or excuse me, I was advised to be part of a study for men with lupus back then, and I absolutely agreed because this is something that if they can fix with me, hopefully they can fix in the future. Now, let's go back real quick because we talked about how the 10% of men are diagnosed with lupus. Now, today, that number has risen up to 22%. I kind of believe that number had always been high. It's just that men sometimes won't come out and tell their story to put it out there to where statistics are reading it.
Okay. Okay. That is yeah, I definitely seen the side of lupus again within our family. Um and it is very scary, for me. Um, for my family member, it was very scary. And especially when you're on the so you're on the lupus medication, you're on the transplant medications. So that's a lot. That is a lot. That's a lot of medications, for one
It
person
is.
to endure. And you still have such a positive vibe. And I definitely appreciate that, you being able to say, you know what, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to take this mess and make it a message. And you were able to, help me come out, because we know men are stubborn, and they definitely don't want to. We don't want to go to the doctor. Well, we're not gonna listen to her. We're not gonna listen to her. But you have Miss Jacqueline there, to be able to help you and have that support, and that is absolutely so. That is so important. So I know the story because you have the handsome young man sitting next to you, your
Yep.
brother. Man, he is a he's your hero, you
He
know,
is.
and helping you through this journey. And he's also now part of your story. So he's not just your brother. You know, he is definitely a hero for me. I encourage anyone to become an organ donor, and if you can help, you know, save a life, and for many to be a living donor, you know, kudos to you, because I know some family members that said, nope, not me. I'm not going to do it at all. So, Manny, again, welcome to the show, my brother. Um, and I definitely would like for you to, you know, just kind of share and I know your brother said, don't nobody get tested in the family. Like he didn't want anyone, you know, to be a match for him. But you being, you know, loving your brother the way that you do, you thought otherwise. So what made you, besides loving your brother, what made you finally say, you know what, forget what Emmitt said, I'm going anyway?
Well, like he explained, you know, he spent a lot of time in the hospital. You know, it's very, very hard for, you know, you to see a loved one. Very, very hard for you to see a loved one or any person suffering like that. So of course, my other brother and my sister, we of course, you know, got together and took upon ourselves to see what we can bring, because you know what, we had a drive, like you mentioned, and we weren't having any results. So we took it upon ourselves to go get checked out, and fortunately for me, I mean, I'm very happy that I was the one to be able to save my
Oh.
oldest brother's life. Very happy.
Oh, wow, wow. Now, did can you tell how the special story of how you found out? I mean, we can't overlook that. You know, how did you find out that he was a match? I'm gonna
The
remove
way,
myself so you could tell this story.
well, yeah, this is one that I didn't see coming. We knew at the time that my dialysis was making me weaker by the day at one point, and so because we had no luck, even I myself was a little down, thinking, okay, something has to happen, something has to happen. So I'm holding this into me and not showing it because, again, the man that I am. But then comes Father's Day in June 2012. Come Father's Day, between me, my other brother, and my father, we always get together. We share or exchange gifts on Father's Day. So I'm looking up and I see my dad, my other brothers, they got gift cards. I get a brown paper bag, and I'm looking like, okay, let's see what gift card did I get. I actually ended up getting a can of kidney beans. And it was from this guy right here. So I'm asking him, I'm like, okay, so what's the deal with the kidney beans? Am I supposed to make a salad? Am I supposed to eat them or something? And he turns to me and tells me that he's giving me a kidney. So I'm like, okay, it didn't dawn on me what had happened. And so I thought about it. He's giving me his kidney. It finally clicked that he's donating his kidney to me. The whole room just got so emotional. My mother started to cry. My dad felt it, and it was just something that we just, was real. For me, it made me tear up because at just that point, I thought that something was going to happen to where I don't know if this is going to work.
Right, right.
I get this. I
I,
get this, and I
you
still have it to this day.
can.
I have it to this day.
That's a special can. That is a special can. And I kind of want to show, you know, a picture of you and your brother and I guess a nurse that was there. And yeah, I definitely wanted to show, you know, some of the pictures because pictures are worth, you know, 1,000 words. And you know, just to be able to show, you know, his support system, because that's so very important to have people, um, you know, support you, behind you, to know that who can you run to? You can always run to your family. So in this picture, can you talk about this picture right here?
That was another procedure that, besides my family and friends that's always there, that's Jackie actually taking a picture, being with me right before another major procedure. So it for me, even though I go in strong knowing it, I think it makes me stronger knowing that I got family around me that supports me. I get a lot of mail and text and phone calls before all my procedures, and it's things like that that makes me know that I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna be fine, and everything's gonna be good because everybody supports me. I just got to do me and make sure I get out of this.
Absolutely. And because of this, and I think this is like one of my favorite pictures of you. Um and on this day, I have on purple tonight in order, in honor. So I made sure I said, you know what, I'm gonna put on purple and just to support you and all of your endeavors. Um it has to be, we have to tell our story. We cannot be shy and just keep it hush hush, because secrets kill. It doesn't help anyone. And so I know you kind of was going through maybe family history and trying to figure out. Can you tell us a little bit about your family history?
Well, yeah, if you guys don't know, I'm actually mixed, black and Filipino. We are mixed, black and Filipino. Sorry. So when I got diagnosed with lupus, it was one of those things that we learned that lupus is hereditary. And we, of course, wanted to figure out and try, where did it start? Did it start with me or somebody elderly than me, that where it started? That way we can kind of see and do the, connect the dots. Unfortunately, we had no sign of any other family having lupus. Now, well, me and my father concluded that if lupus may have started back on my Filipino side, back in the Philippines, if somebody had passed away from it or is suffering from it, did they know it was lupus? Did the doctors have any, idea if it was lupus, or did they consider it being regular kidney disease, heart failure, but not bringing in the word lupus? Not up until maybe about 5-6 years ago, my aunt up in the Bay Area does now have lupus. So she is in my prayers, and I connect with her a lot to make sure that she's uplifted and staying positive. But it's not anything that we've seen in our family in direct where it came from, other than me just having it. My story actually goes back to when I was 10 years old, of having a skin rash that the doctors had diagnosed as skin rash of unknown origin. At the time, my doctor, my rheumatologist now, after looking at everything, thought that it may have been discoid lupus at the time, which is lupus of the skin. During that time, I had a really bad rash, a lot of high fevers. I was sick all the time, but they didn't know what to do other than put me in cream and telling me to stay out the sun and not to eat seafood. So I'm the only guy in San Diego wearing a turtleneck and long sleeve in the summertime, but it was to protect my skin and not to get any issues. That lasted for about a year, and then systemic woke up and started from there. So she thinks it evolved. So not only did I go through the discoid part of lupus, but then diagnosed with systemic lupus, and then having lupus nephritis, which was my renal kidney failure that led to the transplant.
Okay. Wow, wow, wow. And Manny, how are you feeling? Because a lot of people won't become an organ donor because they do feel like, well, what if something happened to me? So how are you feeling these days?
I'm feeling well. I mean, I'm feeling well today, just as good as I felt, over 6 years ago when I donated my kidney. So,
Okay. Okay.
obviously, a lot better knowing that I was able to save my brother's life, or that he's around with us today.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, obviously a lot better, even better today than I was 6 years.
Now, and he also shared with me that your DNA matched so well. Can you finish telling that story, Emmitt?
Yeah, absolutely. When after we found out that he was a match, the first appointment that I had went to, the doctors, or my nephrologist, should I say, yeah, had even said that we were twins. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're about what, 5 years apart. He's lighter than me. I'm a little darker. He has straight hair. I had curly hair. So twins was out the question. We weren't twins. However, when it came to a match for the kidney, they go off of specific markers. He matched every single marker that made him qualify to give me a kidney. And the doctors told me that I have a minimum 20-year kidney. So because of that, I make sure that I do get plus 20 years. I try to do myself right, try to do everything right, because it wouldn't be good to let him down, that I did something that made a difference. So
Correct.
because of that, again, it gave me a second chance of life. I celebrate 2 birthdays,
Right.
April Fool's Day and February 25th. Those 2 dates, my birthday and my kidney transplant day.
Okay. Now, when is the birthday?
April 1st, April 1st, Fool's Day.
April. Okay,
Yeah,
April
yeah.
1st.
Yeah, I get clowned all the time.
That is amazing. Now, before your transplant, were your family members were they registered organ donors before? Did you know anything about organ donation before all of this?
To tell you the truth, not really, because this is the first time that anyone has got sick in our family or even in our close circle, that we had to deal with this. So when I knew we needed a transplant, I knew about organ, donors, and my first thought mind is if someone passes away, they're on the list, I can get their donor. But not too familiar with the process of signing up to be an organ donor, prior to any of that happens, which now I see the relevance, of course.
Okay, absolutely. I guess everybody in the family had now become organ donors, or at least that's the talk. And I guess for me, um, just being able to have the dialogue, because that's not a dinner table conversation. Hey, you're an organ donor. That that is more so. What did you do in school? What happened? Why'd you do that? Or how was your day? So the conversation, or what sentence can you ask your parent? Hey, are y'all organ donors? Um, oh
Right.
yeah, we definitely have our guests. That's my dad. I can say it's my dad. Say thank you all for sharing your story. Also, guess if you all have any questions, you can feel free to put those in the comment box. You can feel free to also let us know if you are an organ donor, and please like and share this broadcast, because again, it is my intention to make sure that we bring this awareness, because if possibly have lupus, and that definitely will affect your organs as well, as he's already stated. So you want to be able to be in the know. And I'm also going to just kind of put up here, this is definitely his his logo, Male Lupus Warriors. I want you all just to be able to see, this was he was able to come out of his shell, and tell this story, because so many people would have said, I'm not going to say it. It's something, you have to question, who you are, what you are when someone say, hey, you have a female disease, and to block that out mentally and say, I'm still me, I'm definitely still me. And that's why I'm so grateful for you all, to be able to tell your story. And now you definitely have another special person in your life, that helps you, um, that helps you take care of yourself, and keep you. First of all, she keeps you very, very busy, and and that's good. And she also has an organization. If Miss Jackie is around, we would love to speak to her, as well. Is she available? Is she available now?
She's actually finishing up a Zoom right now for
Oh,
her study. So
yeah.
I'm hoping to see if I can get her to escape for a little bit. But what I can do is I can kind of give you a little insight on what most people see on what I post and what I do on social media in regards to her organization. Her organization is called Hugs and Bags. And with that, with Hugs and Bags and myself as Male Lupus Warriors, we collaborate to do a lot of help for the community. We provide help for the community. So
Okay.
what we do is basically, prior to COVID, we were having events once a month. And what those events held is for us to give back to the community, where we gave them clothes, shoes, toiletries, food. We served everybody that way. And then once COVID hit, of course, we weren't able to do that anymore. So we found another way to do it, and that was to try to bring people meals, individual meals for every person that can use one. COVID done a lot to where it's taken jobs away, it's hurt people's income and hurt their pocket. So with us being able to have them provide a meal for the community, it pretty much brings a smile on their face and also gives them hope. So up to date, we do 600 meals a day, 4 times a week. And we're helping everybody in the community, from seniors, low income, veterans, essential workers as well. So anybody that we can help out, we can do it. Our demand, of course, is a lot more than 600 a day, but with what we're doing is pretty much all we can do for now. If we can get the organizers to help us out and get us more, we will do more. So in the process of donating and nonprofit organizations, there's a lot of organizations out there that needs help from the public. We need help for donations. We need help of giving the things that some other people don't have, and we stand strong on that. So with Male Lupus Warriors Hugs and Bags, we collaborate to make sure we can do that on a daily, 4 times a week. So to me, that's just a blessing. It keeps me busy as well. I'm the one that's out there lifting these things, giving them away, and it keeps me away from my sickness, or it deters me from thinking of what's going on with me, because my drive is to make sure people stay happy. At the end of the day, if I did that, lupus can do whatever it wants to me. As long as I made somebody happy and smile and fed them, then I'm okay and I feel a lot better.
You're out there helping the community, and now I'm pretty sure they are aware of your compromised immune system. How are you taking care of yourself and amidst this COVID-19?
I'm kind of glad you asked that, because everybody sees me all the time and they're like, where's your mask? Where are you? And this and that. I wear a mask every time. I wear gloves every time, because I know I'm immune suppressant already. Yes, I cannot be around anybody at high risk for even a common cold.
Absolutely.
We know that lupus, we have such a low immune system because of our, medication we take, and because of our immune system being so low, we cannot afford to be out there. But I kind of look over that. I always defied anything that went wrong with me. I've even defied to where if I, go out there, I don't think I'm going to get sick, because I'm doing a service for the people. However, I am protected, and people respect me to where they keep their distance. I make sure that happens. I'm following all the guidelines. So I've not had a quarantine day since it happened.
Wow.
And here I am today.
Here you are. Amazing. Again, such an amazing story. And so Janetta wanted to know, does Emmet still have lupus?
My lupus is pretty quiet. I went through a clinical trial, which was a bone marrow stem cell transplant. What that did for me was it slowed down my flares. All the flares that I were having consecutively, monthly, the trial has slowed all that down. I still have a lot of effects from it, because after that clinical trial is when I had a lot of my major surgeries done because of lupus already doing damage.
Okay.
Unfortunately, right now, I got a brain issue that's going on, still caused by lupus. I had a flare back in July 2019 from lupus that they ended up removing my gallbladder because of it. So lupus is in me, very minimal. I plan to keep it minimal, because if it gets any higher, I can't do what I'm doing. But I want to make sure it don't, so I can continue to do what I'm doing.
Right. That again, this, your personality, you being so positive is refreshing to hear, because you could have easily just said, that's it, I'm gonna give up, I'm not gonna do it. Lupus is, killing me. And for me, my pastor would say, I might have cancer, but cancer doesn't have me. So you have lupus, but lupus doesn't have you. And in this aspect with you, it's really more mind over matter. You just making sure that I have things to do. Howsoever, I know that, when it's time to, take a rest and have a flare up, that is something that you would do. We also had a question for your brother, which I think I might have touched on already. For Emmett's brother, how long did it take for you to recover after the transplant? So
right here, you can tell you that.
Hi, Manny. I hope you see the questions. Any difference with the day to day? So, how do you answer that question?
I think you were up like the next day.
Yeah, after the actual surgery, they encouraged me to get up and move around, some normalcy, and so my body can kind of get back to where it was. And I want to say I was out the very next day.
Very next day.
Very next day.
Wow.
And supposedly the donor is usually 1 to 3 days, and then the recipient, they usually have 3 to 5 days. I was out of there 3 days later.
Okay.
I remember the day of the surgery, other than the slight pain I had, I was able to get up and walk around. So, and that again was my mental state that kept me mentally strong, because I knew that if the physical part of me can get up and seeing my brother get out the hospital the very next day, I got no excuse but to get out myself. And so that just made me even stronger to get going. And it was a breeze. It was a breeze.
I mean, you had a little bit because you had lupus as well, you know. So, but
But at the same time, it was more of letting the doctors do what they do. I respected everything that they had said. I just, again, wanted to kind of be the one to where I'm not going to be here that long. I am going to get strong and I'm going to get out. I'm going to join my brother and we're going to meet up.
You know, I was, if I can add, I was out of the hospital the very next day. But after that, it was about a three weeks to a month for a full recovery. Yeah, for a full recovery from being sore and for, you know, the surgical wounds to heal. About a full month, and you know what? It was back to normal. And like I said, even better now because
now, just to educate the viewers, what did you what did you have to do in order to find out that you would be? So what kind of test did you go through? Did you have to lose weight? Did you have to do anything in order to, you know, be the donor? Like what did you have to do? What protocol?
If I remember correctly, when we got tested, it just pretty much required of multiple two blood specimens, multiple. So, and I want to say once they figured out that I was going to be his match, I think they wanted to do another test and have me fast, or you know, just to make sure. Like you said, you know, we're so close to our markers, and they thought we were twins, and I think they just wanted like a second opinion on it and wanted me to be, you know, absolutely clean again for the next, so that, you know, I had to fast and all that good stuff. And but from what I can remember, it was just multiple blood specimens.
Yeah, the drawing of the blood. Absolutely. The drawing of the blood. Say again.
That was that pin cushion part.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All the sticks and needles.
For the Henderson brothers. So I just want to make sure, you know, I told you any way that I can help and just kind of promote you know, what you're doing. I just wanted to make sure I kind of give out, you know, your Cash App information. Can you share some of the guys? Everyone, please make sure that you see this this picture. This is his Cash App, of course. You know, I'll let him tell it, but of course, right now he is not you know, he's not working. So I'll make sure that stays here. And Male Lupus Warriors is the Cash App, and if you all can help him in any kind of way. Can you share some of the things that you're doing with your foundation?
Yeah, absolutely. With my 25 years of being diagnosed with lupus, and then finding out how rare it is in men, and then finding even more out that it's a rare topic to talk about, men with lupus, I kind of wanted to be the voice and let people know that men, we do get lupus as well. I did want to start something, a foundation, a business in regards to it, and I named it Male Lupus Warriors. And the reason why I named it that is because I want people to know that this is coming from a man that's talking about lupus, spreading awareness, spreading education in regards to it. I can speak from it because I have experience. It's one of those things that in the years of my diagnosis, I didn't know I had a story to tell until I told my story. Once I told my story, it was, you know, it grabbed a lot of attention, it grabbed a lot of ears, because again, men with lupus was rarely talked about. So when I created Male Lupus Warriors, it was my job that I felt I wanted to bring the guys out. I was like, fellas, you know what? If we're strong already as it is, we're the foundation, we're the rocks in our family, we're everything to them. It's just that one thing we don't talk about is the things that bother us or makes us sick, or we have an illness or something lighter on a lighter note. So us talking about it, I figured out when I started telling my story, people looked at me strong, but then they looked at me even stronger when I was able to do that. When I was able to tell them I had a woman's disease, when I was able to tell them I went through this surgery, that surgery, and this surgery, and look at me now. It was one of those things where I wanted to bring that out to all guys. We are not a victim to our illness. If anything, we can maintain that, place on that plateau, just to let our families know, our friends know that just because we're sick doesn't mean it's going to get the best of me. And I try to prove that every day. So I have merchandise that I put out there for male lupus warriors, but it is for men and women. You can follow me on social media, for Facebook and Instagram, male lupus warriors. And I have everything from shirts to the wristbands to bracelets to
The
hats
mask.
to the mask I was just doing for COVID. That
Yeah.
it seems like a lot of people just hit me up for that. So,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, it's more of putting them out there. The money part is not the important part of it. To put it out there to bring awareness. Let somebody come up to you and say, "Hey, what is lupus?" Hey, and then that's when you get a chance to educate people and spread the word. I did a Zoom, or excuse me, I did a live speaking in front of a class, and when I asked people to raise their hand out of 30 of who knew about lupus, only 3 did. But then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, when I asked about who knows cancer, the whole place lit up. So
Absolutely.
lupus needs to be known. Lupus needs to be spread more out there. It needs to be on TV. It needs to have commercials. We need more celebrities like Nick Cannon and Tina Arnold that advocate for it. We need them to speak up more. Come grab me.
Absolutely.
I'll speak up more for
Uh,
you.
yes, you will. Yes, you will. Just to the audience, I've already told him, I'm waiting for the movie, um, of Emmet Henderson because, to endure this, for 25 years, and then on top of that, need to have a kidney transplant. And again, most people with lupus develop the disease between the ages of 15 and 44. So I kind of wanted just to kind of put that information out there. And however men, children, and teenagers develop lupus, it mostly strikes women of childbearing years. So anything that I can do to put the information out there to be able to just kind of help. I feel the same way when it comes to um organ donations. There's no commercial for it. There is, it's not on TV like Burger King, McDonald's, you know, not at all. Why? Yeah, yes, we need to eat. Howsoever, we also need to live. And I've always said I need to do a telethon just to be able to, bring awareness. We have Jerry's Kids in September. We have all those other things, but nothing with lupus, nothing with organ donation, just to be able to bring that awareness out. 22 people die each day waiting, for a transplant, which is, just absolutely is astounding just to, hear those numbers. And just recently I looked in the state of Florida and we had about 2013 people waiting for a heart. And so just here in Florida, so in Florida alone, we still have over 5,600 people that are waiting for the gift of life. And absolutely, this is we also have a knowledge is power. And again, this was this was the guest I was telling you about that had the second transplant, and she's still living. So absolutely loved having her on my show to tell the story, because she's the first person to that I knew that received an organ transplant. So I thank you so much for the Henderson men being able to tell their story. I know your family, your father, your parents were very instrumental in helping you to get through this. When I say that they have raised some really strong and powerful men, we definitely appreciate that. So please, I don't know what that noise is. Um, yeah, not sure what that is, but please, everyone, if you can, become an organ donor. Every day, 5,700 children and adults in Florida await. So if you would please, I'm not sure if we have any more questions. Definitely have the knowledge is power. Says he likes your positive outlook and faith to live. How did you develop? I don't know what the noise is. How did you develop that faith that you have? Is it spiritual, mental, etc.?
Mhm.
That
You're
was
right. You're right. And I think that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that was a question for you. How did you develop this faith that you have?
You know what? To be honest with you, prior to having lupus at 25, I had a son at 18, and I had to grow up quick, to be a dad at that age. My dad instilled a lot in us to where I knew what I had to do. So not only having my son at an early age, but also managing a dealership at an early age where almost all my employees were older than me, and I was the youngest one. So I had to be strong. I think my faith was because I started strong myself, and that my belief in everything that I do and go through is also going to be strong. To where, again, I did not, listen to my body when I got sick. I felt I was too strong for that. Realizing the outcome was a disease that I didn't know I was going to have the rest of my life, I
Right.
accepted it. I accepted it, and I accepted that whatever happens, I'm going to go through, and I'm going to be fine. I got 2 kids to live for. I got a family to live for. So I know what this disease can do. It's just that I got to a point to where this part is out of my control. But then that's when my little brother stepped in, and he put it back into my control by giving me a kidney. And that's how we're able to tell the story to you guys today. So
Yes.
it's just faith. It was just a journey from the very beginning.
Absolutely. And again, before we go, I just want to make sure I share that Cash App again, with you all, with our viewers today. So if you would like to bless them or bless him and his foundation, with the male lupus warriors. That would be greatly appreciated. And please, guys, make sure that you share this broadcast because it is all about informing, educating, and bringing awareness, especially in the multicultural community. So we all have to stick together. Again, like Marshall said, knowledge is power. And, the more we know, the better we should become and the better we should do. So I do thank you for reaching out. I know you had the opportunity to speak, across the pond, and I'm just right here in little Jacksonville. But I do thank you for your time and the positive energy that flows through you, my brother. It's so good. It's so good to see someone just be so positive and you're still giving, you're still going. And that's what we need to see in this world. That's what we need more of. And there are more people. We just don't know they're doing it because they're real quiet. And I want to make sure so yeah, just wanted you all to see, support you with cash out donation. So I come from a very, very strong family, and we definitely try to keep those beliefs. But we also have very human moments, and it's okay. It's okay to be a little down, but you can't stay there. That can't drive you. I can't do anything. I'm nothing. I'm no good because I have this disease, and that is so not true. So
That's
again, thank
absolutely
you.
right.
Thank you. I'm so sorry we couldn't get Jackie. So I got to do a part 2, just so that
Yes, yes,
just so
yes.
that we have to get Jackie and tell us the name of her organization again.
Organization is called Hugs and Bags. You can
Okay.
find us on Facebook at Hugs and Bags and on Instagram, Hugs_Bags. And you
Okay.
can see our work through the pictures and the posts that we do on there.
Okay, so guys, please follow them. He is on Facebook. We're friends on Facebook, and he's also on Instagram. So if you guys would, just follow him and guys, make sure that we just pray for him, that he continues and God continues to strengthen him and allow him to do. This is what he's calling for. We never know, the situation that we're going to be in and what God calls us to do. What I do know is God don't call no punks. So when God calls you, because he called me, and I would think sometimes, God, this is a lot. Okay, but you got it, Naishanda. You got it. Because I come from a praying family. So we've been through a lot, but there's always somebody else that's going through, worse than you are. And we're still here. So um
That's right.
I'm so grateful and thankful again for you. And yes, we will have to do part 2 because we're gonna talk about this movie that That's
Yes.
definitely going to happen. So thank you, Manny. People saying amen and thank you for sharing. Um, definitely, because I've never met a man with with lupus, and it's the same thing. Growing up in Miami, sickle cell awareness is good is well known in Miami, but it's not well known here in Jacksonville. So it's about being able to get that information out and being able to help people. I'm gonna stop rambling. So thank you all again. Thank you, viewers, for watching. Please make sure. I just want to make sure I put that out there again. Um, he is male lupus warrior in purple. And again, I wore purple just for this because y'all know I'm normally in my green or my blue.
100%.
So I thank you. I had to support you, my brother. And I guess people still have comments. So, oh, okay. My daughter said, thank you for sharing. So let me tell y'all, thank y'all so much. Even if it's my family, thank y'all for supporting me. I definitely appreciate y'all. And thank you all for showing love. To the Henderson family. Manny, again, hero. You are a hero. You are a hero. And so his story, your story will never be forgotten because I got it recorded. So we want to make
And
sure, guys. Thank
Shonda,
you.
if I could, I want to say thank you, because to you and the platform that you're doing this on is how awareness is getting out. We're a voice, but you're a force. And the way that you're doing this now, for all the viewers that's watching it, we really appreciate that. To where, as long as you know that we're trying to represent lupus, let's put that word in your head to where we can take care of other people that may be suffering about it, or educating other people on it. Follow me on Male Lupus Warriors, and you'll see my story, how I'm going from today on. Despite what the doctors tell me, I'm gonna have me some fun.
Absolutely. I watch your stories on social media. You about to put me in tears. Anybody know I'm a water bag. So to say what you just said, I'm gonna keep that in my mind. Hey, we're the voice, but you're the force. So thank you. Like that's so powerful. Thank you so much. Again,
Absolutely.
I didn't know this was gonna be my life. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm gonna go because I'm not getting ready to cry on camera. So thank you all so much. God
Thank
bless you.
you. Thank
All
you.
right. Okay.
Much love.
Much love. Bye bye. Okay, y'all. All right, I got to go. Um, even though you're a water bag. I know, Chanel. So, guys, thank you all so much for watching Transplant Talk. Tune in next week when I have a very special guest. And I'm just gonna wait for you all to find out who it is, who she is, but I know who she is. And this should be July 7th. And wow. Uh thank you, Genesis. Yes, organ donation is definitely so important. And if anyone else would like to tell their story, share their story on Transplant Talk with Naishanda, I will definitely let you have let your voice be heard because it's definitely important. Okay, God bless you all and good night. Tune in next week. Thanks, Dad.